Hello guys, welcome to Trophygamers, to another review, this time of Child of Light. Child of Light is a game made by Ubisoft for the PC, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Wii U, Xbox 360, Xbox One, and was released on the 30th of April 2014. The game is a fantastically produced fairy tale which you should surely absorb in your hearts. The typical RPG gameplay and the puzzles absolutely make the long production process worthwhile. However, the game could have had more depth. What remains is a title which we can recommend to everyone. It's exactly what we imagined when we first saw the images of the game. Child of Light brings you a fairy tale where you play as Princess Aurora, who wakes up in a fantasy world called Lemuria. In this game, the studio which we normally know from top titles such as Far Cry and Assassin's Creed, where they gave a small percent of the employees the chance to make something completely different. The game feels like a very successful indie project which takes creativity to the next level, while marketing is almost forgotten completely. From the beginning till the end of the game, it's really difficult to find any faults, in case of the performance that is. The fairy tale world, which is called Lemuria, comes to life as a perfect two-dimensional world. Every screen we ran, flowed or flew through seems like to come directly out of a fairy tale, and the soundtrack is truly of the same quality and fits perfectly with everything you see on your screen. The game is filled with icy caves, enchanted forests, gigantic titans which move slowly through the background, a village which is built on the back of a giant. These are things we know from stories and not from games. The storyline isn't perfect in the end, but it does set the exact good mood. It isn't all about gameplay in this game, but more about the experience. It tries to give you a certain feeling which is constantly noticeable when playing. At any given time you can have two characters on the battlefield. Then on the bottom of the screen you can see a timeline where it's indicated which character is going to make a move next. The last piece of the timeline in red color is reserved for characters which have already chosen their attacks, but need to wait for it to be executed. If you attack enemies while they are in this waiting zone, you will hit them backwards on the timeline, so the attack will be delayed. This can of course also happen to your own characters. This brings some amount of strategy to the game, since everyone moves at a different pace on the timeline. The lack of true depth, which is a little bit annoying, fits a game which chooses performance above content. The puzzles in the world really never get complicated or large. The few side quests that can be found are not that big of a deal, and you will rarely find any NPCs in the game. Normally all of these things would be really a more enormous negative side for the end product, but that doesn't mean it's the same for Child of Light. Of course we would have liked to see a longer game, but what remains is a perfectly balanced story which feels very intimate all the time. What Ubisoft did with Child of Light is something we rarely see in today's gaming scene. This game can really capture the heart of old school gamers, and we could almost never see any major flaws in the characters and setting. If you ask our honest opinion, we'd say that we're always going to be waiting for games like this. The pros of the games are as followed: incredibly production filled with unique characters, turn-based fighting with a unique and fun twist. The cons could be reduced to these: the puzzles which are too easy, minimal interaction with the NPCs, and a fighting system which could have been a little bit more detailed. All in all, Trophygamers gives Child of Light a rating of 8.5 out of 10. I hope you enjoyed the review. Please subscribe and leave any comments.